Hello there YouTube, and welcome back to War Thunder, guys. Today I'm going to be taking out the Panther II and the 10.5cm Tiger II. The simple reason is we are in the month of May. Now if you remember, there was a Q&A where they confirmed that in May there would be a new update 1.79. Now we already have our first dev blog for update 1.79, which is the Type 90 for the Japanese Ground Forces. They also said in a live stream, and it was translated and put on Reddit and on War Thunder forums, that the 10.5 and the Panther II, almost said Tiger II, Panther II are going to be at some point hidden on the tech tree, because apparently they have replacement vehicles for those locations on the tech tree. Now they didn't give an ETA as to when these tanks would be hidden on the tech tree. Now if you do already have these unlocked like I do, then you have no need to worry, you're not going to lose them. But for the guys that are still sort of at 6.7 ish on the German tech tree, if you want either one of these, I would suggest getting your skates on, because we are almost midway through May. Today is the 12th of May. And I'm looking at the calendar on my phone, and I'm going to give you some probable dates, because there's only 3 weeks left really of May as soon as we hit Monday. So it's going to have to be in 3 weeks time, this update. So we're looking at dates between the 15th, 16th and 17th, because it can't go past the 17th because of the weekend for the update to drop. But I'm not sure if it will be that quickly, because they have to put out the dev server first. Then we have the dates between the 22nd, the 23rd and the 24th. But again, the dev server is usually open for around 2 weeks. So my bet at the moment, because they've left it so long at the moment with the World War II Chronicles having to come to an end and everything, and Victory Day, my guess is the 29th, the 30th or the 31st of May the update will drop. That is update 1.79. So if you are on the cusp of researching these, or you currently researching these but you've decided I've had enough of the Germans, I'd get back on it, because they didn't give an ETA as to when these would be hidden on the tech tree, and you don't want to miss out, guys. It's not worth missing out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into some gameplay with the Panther II first, and then with the 10.5 Tiger II, and just have a little chat about these tanks, and then basically return to the hangar and wrap up the video, guys. So sit back, relax and enjoy today's gameplay. Okay then guys, so we're going to be kicking off with the Panther II. Now this is probably one of my favourite German tanks at 7.0. Yeah, I like it that much I actually put a talisman on it, so it must be good. What you get here with the Panther II is the capabilities of a medium tank, speed, manoeuvrability and artillery, combined with the killing capacity of a heavy tank with the 88mm gun. And what more could you really ask for? You can get into good positions early game, and as soon as you're in those positions you can use that 88mm to just absolutely annihilate enemy players. It is such a good vehicle. Now obviously there are people out there that say, well, I'd rather skip past this, you know, go to the Leo 1, which is fair enough because it carries heat FS. The Panther II does have limited ammunition types, which in a way can be a bit of a drawback, but when you're blasting away at people with an 88mm, you really don't need that many ammo types. I found that the default ammunition for the 88mm is actually better than the other ammunition that you can unlock. It sometimes doesn't have as much pen, but it always seems to just do so much more damage. Now as you can see here, I'm in my little sneaky spot, and it gives good coverage over B and towards where our spawn is, but someone's already popped him off. But there is an enemy tank just behind me, and this proves one of the first points. Speed, manoeuvrability do come into play really good. Now this T-34 for the Americans has driven over here. He's probably gone straight down that middle road there, which is relatively flat, and he thinks he's in a good position because now he's shooting at an enemy team member and he's going to get away with it. Well, no you're not. Panther II to the rescue. There you go. Perfect way to set up an ambush just drive into one of these little sneaky spots on any sort of given map, and you'll get a kill early game quite quickly. Now, a lot of people will also use these for capping, and that's fair enough, but honestly, I don't usually charge caps down with this. I prefer to sit back and use the 88 to just pick off a few enemies, and then if I've got time for a cap after that, well, then I'll go do so. Moving around, as you can see on the map, I'm keeping on the move all the time, or as much as possible. I don't want to be sat in one position. I don't want to limit this tank to holding down one position. Even though you can do it for a little while, you're better off maneuvering around, because it is a medium. It doesn't have the armor protection of a heavy like the 10.5 centimeter Tiger II. So if you can keep moving, keep the enemy guessing where you are, you're going to end up doing really well in this. Now, obviously, I'm sat here, I'm trying to see if there's any enemy tanks to intercept from their spawn to A, and that's when I've noticed this guy behind me. Now, you're going to have to excuse this first shot because it was absolutely piss poor. I'm not even sure why I aimed now, but I did. And what made me laugh is the fact that he completely and utterly ignored that shot. Completely ignored it. So take out the guy's engine. The ship barn does not have a full 360 turret rotation. Wait for the reload and pop him off. There we go. There is another kill for me. So I'm going to move around again in a second once I've checked out the area, because I still could hear something every now and again. As you can see, I'm kind of on my own here. There's nothing really around, but there definitely was something else I heard. I'm not sure if it could have been him or a friendly that had zipped past and I just never noticed, but I definitely heard something. So I decided after about a minute or so that I was going to try and investigate those engine sands, and as soon as I came around this little bit here, STRV 81 got in with a lovely kill on the move. And you can do that, believe it or not, with this. It doesn't have a stabilizer, but it is a relatively level gun platform even when you're on the move. So if you do have the opportunity to get a nice rolling shot off with it, I suggest trying for it. Just go for it. It usually works out with this 88mm because it just goes straight through and just absolutely annihilates. So we have another tank over here that I've just spotted, and I wasn't even sure that there was one there. That I dropped the smoke simply because just in case. But there we go. Here comes kill number 4, I believe this is. So there we go. There's another one. So I'm going to move back round onto the left hand side, back into this factory, and try to pick up a few more enemy tanks. But unfortunately for me, in a minute or so, this is basically where the gameplay is going to end with the Panther II. And as I showed you, it is a good tank. I think a lot of people prefer to go for the Leo, as I say, because it is that much more maneuverable, it has much more speed, the reload's quicker, and it does carry heat effect. However, I do believe that this is, I wouldn't say an equal to it, but it's definitely a tank that's on a very similar level. They are both very strong tanks in their own right, and you can get some very, very nice kills with both of the tanks. But I do personally prefer the Panther II because I like World War II tanks, whether they were built or whether they were simply ideas on a piece of paper. I do like them, and I was very happy when I eventually did get to my Panther II and unlock it and start playing it. Although the flip-flopping between 6.7 and 7.0 is getting a bit old now, so they really need to decide where it's going to go and where it's going to stay from now on, because it's getting a bit boring. So and that's me killed there. But what got me with this one is it got me with the default ammo. Sad. I could have at least been APDS, but never mind. Okay then guys, welcome to the sands of Sinai with the 10.5 centimeter Tiger II. Now as you can see, I'm not even attempting to go for the capture points. The Lorraine 40T, Object 906 and the IS-6 are just miles out ahead of me already going for the cap. With this being at 70.5 tons and on sand, it's just not worth it. And even if it was completely flat and paved along that section at the bottom there, I still would have gone to the same location up here on the map, because I like to use this tank in a sniping role. It's what the cannon was really designed to do: sit back and snipe. And you've actually got some really decent cover over here, so you can hide this very obvious bloody tank. If you've ever stood next to a Tiger II, you'll know just how big it is. And we have our first target over here. Now the reload on this is quite slow. I have got mine experted and it's at 16.3 seconds. Stock, I think it's about 17.5, maybe 18 seconds. So you might want to expert it. I think it's about 300 odd grand or maybe more to expert the crew, but it is worth it because you do get a reduction in the reload speed, which is good. I prefer to use this actually though as a first tank on larger maps like the Sands of Sinai, Folder, things like that. Because I'm using it in a sniping role, I'm able to basically sit back and fire away at my targets and not have to worry so much about the reload. On more confined maps like Advanced to the Rhine, Abandoned Factory, things like that, the reload is a massive hindrance. You end up getting killed a hell of a lot by the reload time. So maps like this, if you can sit back, or if you like to sit back, you'll end up being a very effective support member on your team, because you're not going to be driving up with this, and if you are, you're going to get killed. You're better off using this tank in a supporting role. Your teammates right here, they've all been wiped out over on A at the moment, but I'm still here, I'm still watching the cap, and I'm still going to end up with a hell of a game because I know how to use this tank. I've used it enough to know what I'm doing. However, I haven't used it enough to spade it because, well, I'm always making videos and I'm always going from one tech tree to another, so a lot of them are just not spaded. But as long as you can get the parts and the extinguishers, it's spaded for the most part. As long as you get those two modifications, you're pretty much set with it. So you're probably noticing that I'm using the rangefinder quite a lot at the moment and relying on it quite heavily. That's simply due to the reload speed of the 10.5. I can't really afford to miss too many shots. I got lucky with the M48 on B at the beginning, but he had no idea what was going on. I think he was kind of like panic stations. There's a couple of shots coming in at me and I got away with that. When it gets to this stage of the game, you need to be accurate, and having a key binding for the rangefinder is a necessity. Whether it's on your keyboard or on your controller, I'd suggest setting one up, especially if you're using this or a similar tank or tank destroyer like the Jag Tiger for the Germans. It has quite a powerful cannon but a very slow reload. You can't afford to miss too many shots. Now, as you can see as well, the battle is sort of dying down at the moment. There's not a lot of action because I'm scanning. There's no action over by A and B, and I'm going to have to do what usually gets people killed, and I'm going to have to relocate in a minute because there's nothing coming along. As in real life with snipers, they will take a few shots and then they will have to relocate so the enemy doesn't find them. Now obviously I have no idea if I'm being outflanked or not, but it's one of those chances you have to take. But thankfully, because I've done so well already, I've got 4 kills, I can afford to chance moving and hopefully pick up on another kill. Now there is people being marked, or there's someone being marked on E7. Whether or not they're still going to be there by the time I get there in this beast of a tank is a different matter, but taking a chance usually pays off. Oh, well, I say that. I say it usually pays off. Sometimes it does, sometimes it don't. But 4 kills in the bank. I got enough spawn points to come in with a secondary vehicle, whether it's a tank or a plane, so it shouldn't really matter too much. So I'm going to move around right now, see if I can pick up any more tanks, and I'm going to cut out the travel time because going up this bar is really slow and tedious. As I was driving around, guys, the guy that was initially marked up on the map was killed, but I am just in time to pick up on this M48, and yes, you guessed it, he's going to die because he never checked his corners. Remember children, when driving around in War Thunder, especially when you're on the back foot, always check your corners, otherwise that will happen to you. So instead of moving round on E7 here in front of this big rock just in front of me, I'm going to move around the edge of the map and along towards D7. There are a few tanks being engaged over that way, and I will be cutting out the travel time because along this part here I was honest to God doing 15 miles an hour on flat terrain. Now yes, it's sand, but it's also flat, and I was doing 15 miles an hour. So I will pick up with you guys as soon as I get in location. So with the magic of editing, I've moved up and I'm almost in position. There is some kind of enemy tank over there. An Avenger was killed out in the open on D6, but there is another one, and there it is. It is a T-34, and I'm just going to line up a shot and finish him off for my 6th kill of the game. Now when we were sort of the mid stage of this game, it could have gone either way. If the enemy team had been slightly more aggressive, they probably could have quite easily taken the rest of the team out, leaving me in that sniping position. Thankfully our team read the situation correctly, so did I, and we were able to come away with the win. Not always the case, but again, it's a good demonstration of this tank and its capabilities, as same as the Panther. Welcome back to the hang, guys. So I'm hoping that everyone's had a little bit of insight into the 10.5cm Tiger and the Panther II with this video, and the best ways that I found to use both tanks, because they might be from the same tech tree, but they are for the most part completely worlds apart in the way to use them best. So disclaimer right now, because I should have said this at the beginning of the video, I do not know if these two tanks will be hidden from the tech tree when update 1.79 drops. Okay, I have not been told they will be hidden. I have no clue if they will be hidden. I just want you guys to be aware that it is on the table. Now they did say that in a future update they would be basically hiding these from the tech tree, but they didn't tell us what update, and I don't want you guys to miss out on what could potentially be a really good tank for your tech tree. So get your skates on, guys. I don't want to panic you, but get your skates on. If you're going for the 10.5, put your ass into it now. Just grind. Same for the Panther II, guys, because I don't want you missing out. So guys, I hope everyone's enjoyed today's video. If you have and you're new to the channel, please feel free to subscribe if you haven't already, and if you do, guys, hit the notification bell for updates on future content. Also, a thumbs up is appreciated. It does help out the channel a lot. And until next time, guys, I will see you soon, and have fun.